advertising, launch, and operations. She has recently started her personal blog, the Domestic Goddess, on gleanings and learnings through the experiences of life. You can visit her blog through her Instagram handle and her YouTube page. Miss Nisha, you could begin now.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Good evening, everybody at Mentor Mitr. Good evening, everybody that's joined us today. It is my pleasure and honor to have this energy exchange with you. Let's make it meaningful. So, the topic today is grooming and soft skills. May I slightly tweak it and call it groomed for success with soft skills? So, let me start with a little story. There was a little girl who loved eating fried fish, and her mother used to make delicious fried fish for her. And every day she'd make fried fish, but she'd cut the head and the tail. And this little girl was very intrigued and said, "Mommy, you make delicious fried fish, but why do you cut the head and the tail?" So the mom thought and said, "Oh, my darling, I don't know, but I think your grandmother did that." So this little girl goes rushing to her grandmom and says, "You've taught mom such a delicious recipe, but why'd you cut the head and the tail?" She said, "Oh, my darling, I don't know, but your grandmother, my mother, your great grandmother did that." So she goes to her great grandmother, who says, "I don't know. My mother used to do that." So she goes to her great great grandmother, who's really on her last now. And she says, "Darling, very simple. The frying pan was small." What I'm trying to get at is that we human beings are creatures of conditioned responses, of conditioning that we do not question. And from childhood, there is a trajectory that has been set for us. School and college and extracurricular activities and certifications and more extracurricular activities, and then professional degrees, and then, further professional degrees, and it goes on this hamster wheel. So just walk with me through understanding how important are these things called soft skills. Let me just paint this little image. Let's walk through together. So for the last few years, we've been living in a very VUCA world. Volatile, unpredictable, complex, very aggressive. And there's lots happening in this world. There's a whole cluttered marketplace out there where there's products and organizations and brands, and each one vying for attention in a world that is instant noodles, instant coffee, instant hookups, instant breakups, instant peaks and troughs, and everything is instant, where more than time management, attention management is what we need. And in all of this, brands are selling their unique story to us and their unique proposition, and we are like associating with these brands because perhaps we feel there'll be a rub off, perhaps we feel through this association there'll be something that we will buy into. And this continues. And while this continues, we are then understanding consumerism, where the Diderot effect teaches us more and more consumerism, where people are constantly upgrading their lives and constantly aspiring for more, and constantly using this as a salve to the very transient nature of life. And the shelf life of those things itself is becoming shorter and shorter. And alongside this is the sea of all of us, humanity, on this constant hamster wheel. Like I said, from these classes to these certifications to all the things that are required, all of us clamoring, "Hey, it's me, I'm here, please see me, I'm the one, can I be the chosen one? I've got the right fit for you, I can do the right job for you, see me." And everyone trying to communicate, wanting to be the chosen one. And then, whoosh, the penny drops and the bubble bursts. And then we understand that, hey, it wasn't just those hard skills that were required to fit the bill. There was much, much more to it. There were other critical skills. I mean, today companies are not going to hire someone who's a top-notch MBA or a professional in any capacity, an engineer, an IT geek, if he or she does not have the requisite other skills. What happens at that crucible moment? What happens at that moment when adversity strikes? What happens? Do they have the critical thinking? Are they a team player? Do they have compassion? Do they have emotional intelligence? Can they represent the organization well? Do they know the art of small talk? Can they be an ambassador for this organization? Can they know how to get the best out of the team? Do they have cross-cultural diversity? Do they have inclusivity? Do they have equanimity? And that's when we understand that, yes, hard skills are very, very important. They are the hardware, they are our knowledge, they are our expertise, they are our skills. But without the critical skills, which are the soft skills, which are the ones that I have just talked about, we cannot operate these hard skills. So really the soft skills are your software, your operating system, where you're going to be using the skill set of yours to communicate outside to the world, your ideas, your mission, your products, whatever you need to sell, your core competency. And then whoosh again, we have the pandemic. And here again, there's a paradigm shift that's happened. There's so much more adversity that's come in. There's a change in the way businesses are being done. There's a change in the way people are now working. Working from home is possibly going to be here to stay for a really long time. And so in the midst of all this, how do I ensure that I am the relevant fit? How do I build a brand that is so unique, that is so different, that I am the chosen one? So let's take a little pause and understand something about this. The good thing about soft skills is that they are not nature but nurture. You do not have to be born with them. You can learn them, you can imbibe them, you can use eye measure, observe, you can then apply them, inculcate them, and create your own unique brand. But how do I create this unique brand of mine that's going to be different? Not just by the learned academic responses that I may be taught about interview skills or how to climb the corporate ladder or to break the glass ceiling. How do I do that? So first things first, do I know myself? And how well do I know myself? So of course, all of us at professional colleges are taught how to do a SWOT analysis. But I'd like you to one step before this and know yourself a little bit more, to understand who am I, what's my raison d'etre, what is my purpose, what stokes me, what's my passion, why do I exist, why do I wake up every morning? And this is not something that's going to be one day I wake up and I have the answer. It's going to be something that's a journey, an evolving journey of casting off the old, applying new experiences. I'm sure most of us have heard of the golden circle of Simon Sinek, where he teaches organizations and people start with your core. The innermost circle is your why. It's your purpose. It is what actually appeals to the limbic brain, the brain that develops dependability and trust and decision making, and it is the core of your existence. Once I know that about myself, it makes me realize what are the values I align with. So there are a whole lot of tools out there. I'm sure Mentor Mitr can help you with that. There are also things online. There is also deep journaling, reflection about life, about your critical moments, about your triggers and how you respond to know who you are. And then, of course, there is how. Now, the how part of it are your strengths and weaknesses. We've all done SWOTs. I like not to call it a weakness because, as Richard Bach says, if you argue for your weakness, it's yours. Let's call it a challenge, because challenges are something we want to get over. So your strengths are all your strengths, and your challenges are your inner paradigm. We leave your opportunities and threats, that's your external paradigm. What we're trying to build on is your internal qualities, passions, abilities, skill sets. And then you take this outside and you say what. And the what then becomes your service, your product, and what you take out, your job titles. And when I'm armed with that knowledge about myself, I can now take this out into the world and put out my uniqueness, my unique brand. Now, just remember something that's really important, that when we meet someone for the first time, we actually give them a slice of ourselves, a very small sliver of ourselves. And because human beings are very biased creatures, we quickly use these little slices of a person, and our subconscious mind creates an image. And this image, kind of is biased, and this image will kind of give a projection of who we think that person is. So when we actually put ourselves out there, we've got to ensure that the kind of image that we're putting outside is one that works in our favor, one that has such a halo effect that it kind of extrapolates into every area, every facet, so that people don't invent you based on what their biases are, but you have given them the right tools for them to understand and accept you. So Professor Albert Mehrabian had done a research to say that when we first meet a stranger, 55% of that first impression, of that image that the person casts on us, and the image we form in our mind, is based on visuals. We human beings are very visual creatures. So everything that we see forms a part of that 55%. Now, what are this? This is all non-verbal. It's the way that person is dressed, their appearance, their grooming, their clothing, their body language. In case of women, we have much more that we're judged on, because we have makeup and we have jewelry and we have necklines and we have hemlines and so much more. 55%. The way you stand, your deportment, your facial expressions. Did you smile? Did you make eye contact? Was there confidence? Was there not? 38% is your tone of voice. Hello, good to see you. Hello, good to see you. Complete different, same words. And 7% are your words. Now, in those words lie your expertise and your knowledge. But if that first two parameters are not met, people are not going to engage with you. People are not going to open doors for you. People are not going to transact with you. People are not going to give you time of day. Why? Simply because this is something we carry forward from ages ago, when we were really cavemen, when we came out and when we looked out and scanned the horizon to check whether there was friend or foe. What looked like friend we would engage with, what looked like foe we would either get into fight or flight mode, and that we still carry forward. So the moment there is trust and dependability, because this person's appearance and body language gives us that authenticity, I will take this transaction forward. So if appearance is such a large part of me, then I must use it as a tool to work for me. So make sure that this appearance is appropriate. Make sure that the clothes that I'm wearing, my hygiene factors, my grooming is so appropriate that it works in favor for my role, goal, occasion, time, place, context, the industry that I am in, the kind of interactions I'm going to have, and the kind of success that I want to meet with. My appearance needs to be me, authentic, not someone else so that my focus then becomes my knowledge and my conversation and what I am there to achieve, not just how I'm looking. And it needs to be attractive. And when I say attractive, it needs to bring the focus onto pleasant, dependable, trustworthy, and then into this triangle for business communication. Anything else beyond that will be distracting. Of course, we have very little time, but as image consultants, there's a whole minefield out there that we can work with, whether it's personal style or it's using semiotics, which is the science of signs. Every piece of garment can be giving off a mood and a message. Are you a decision maker? Are you authoritative? Are you influential? Are you casual? Are you laid back? Are you lazy? Are you someone who's a team player, who's approachable? So much. So we can actually use our appearance to build our brand. We can use it as a tool. Also knowing various other kinds of, when to wear what. What's a black tie? What's a white tie? What's a lounge suit for women? Especially if you're traveling globally, to know what's going on, whether you're in Indian context, what's the context? There is so much that you can do with your appearance. And of course, the rest of it that goes with it, which is your grooming and your hygiene, which are given, and there is no compromise on that. Then comes the other visual part, which is your body language. Your body language is your deportment. Your deportment is how you carry yourself, how your entrances, your exits, your maintaining eye contact for parity, your smile, your open body postures, how you network and use the room, how you use your space, your personal space to actually expand, to show authority, or how not to encroach into someone's personal space. All of this is important. Of course, also knowing when not to use it. For example, as etiquette coaches and image consultants, one of the very important tools of corporate introductions was the handshake. But with the pandemic, it is now an obsolete thing to be kept away in the back burner for some time. So that's your body language. Then there's communication, which I am going to leave to my erstwhile next speaker who's going to talk about. However, just to know that there's verbal and vocal. There are your words, and there's your pitch and rate of speech and inflection and intonation and your public voice and your library voice. All of it that gives gravitas. Beyond this, there is your digital footprint. All of us are out there. And when we're out there, make sure that your image that you're putting out there is in line with what you want to achieve. Make sure it's not risque or controversial or aligned to anything political or anything that can mar your career growth. Remember, that's the first place that you're going to be searched. Beyond that, we have etiquette, and there's a massive minefield out there of etiquette, and there is a whole maneuvering that can be done, whether it's corporate etiquette and how you align yourself at work, being a team player, being someone who has great net etiquette, someone who knows how to you have emotional agility, someone who actually knows how to conduct meetings, represent your organization globally or outside. Social graces, because today, businesses are not conducted only in boardrooms. It could be on a golf course, it could be over cocktails, it could be over tea, breakfast, dinner, or lunch, knowing what to do. As Oscar Wilde said, the world was my oyster, but I used the wrong fork. So knowing all of those things, so much of navigation in the field of etiquette, knowing what to do within the organization, without the organization, and outside. And of course, there is your emotional quotient or emotional agility, where you have emotions, but you know how to be agile, you know how to bring intelligence to them, you know how to be adaptable to an ever-changing, complex kind of situation. So that's there. Then there is a growth mindset, where I grab every experience with an initiative saying, if not me, then who? If not now, then when? And today, friends, a lot of companies are hiring people for their social capital. It's not just what you know, but who you know. Not because you want to socially climb, but simply because it is your networking that is going to give you leads. It's going to give you opportunities. At the time of crisis, they will be the places where you will reach out to get solutions. So all of these things go towards creating your very unique brand. So at the end of it, I can see being told that I'm at the end of my session, really. I just like to say that